Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Shinigami Eyes and today I am going to be covering the lore of FNAF 2. I've already done a video on the lore of FNAF 1, so if you haven't already watched that, feel free to go and check that out first. I might give you a bit of context before this video. So first things first, I'm going to jump straight into the gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The gameplay of FNAF 2 is a massive step up in difficulty and complexity from FNAF 1. It's often seen as one of the hardest games in the series, and its max mode is seen as one of the most difficult of all. FNAF 2 is a significantly more intense game that's more difficult to crack. Rather than simply checking the cameras and lights and closing the doors, in FNAF 2 you need to do many more things. You need to ensure that the puppet's music box stays wound up by regularly winding it up, flash the flashlight in the hallway regularly, put your mask on quickly whenever a withered or toy animatronic enters the room, and check the vent lights. This game also has a massive increase in characters, going from 5 to 10 active animatronics. These animatronics can be organised into 3 categories: the toy animatronics, the withered animatronics, and other animatronics. The toy animatronics are shiny, new, colourful, and kid-friendly animatronics. They include Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Mangle, and Balloon Boy. Of course, Toy Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica are based on the characters from FNAF 1. Mangle is based off of Foxy, and Balloon Boy is a completely new character. Toy Bonnie, Chica, Mangle, and Balloon Boy enter via the vents to attack, making this clanging sound as they crawl through. Once they can be seen in the vent lights, you must put on the Freddy head until you hear them leave. When Mangle is in the vent, they make a very loud metallic noise, which can also be heard in whichever room they're in over the cameras. When Balloon Boy moves, he says hi and hello. He actually can't directly kill you, however, if he gets into your office without you deterring him with the Freddy mask, he will steal the batteries from your flashlight, meaning you can no longer prevent Foxy from attacking.
Hello. Hi.
When Bonnie enters the office, he can take a long time. When you successfully put on the mask, he will scan past you, his blank plastic eyes staring directly at you until he leaves. Unlike the rest of the toy animatronics, Toy Freddy enters via the hallway. He can also be deterred by putting on the mask. A rare Easter egg toy animatronic is JJ, a purple and green colour-shifted version of Balloon Boy who can be seen under the desk. While the toy animatronics are fun and definitely not scary, the withered animatronics on the other hand are horrifying. These animatronics are the old animatronics from the previous restaurant and have been used for parts, leaving them in various states of decay and disrepair. The withered animatronics consist of Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, and Foxy. All of course based off the FNAF 1 characters. Withered Bonnie doesn't even have a face, and just has red dots for eyes. Withered Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica must all be deterred by putting on the Freddy mask. Freddy will enter via the hallway, and Chica and Bonnie via the vents. However, they cannot be seen in the vent lights. They will simply wait until a point where you bring the monitor down and will immediately jump out at you. Meaning that when you flip the monitor down, you need to immediately put the Freddy head on in order to avoid them. Foxy works differently to any of the other animatronics in the game. While the other hallway animatronics can be stalled using the flashlight is the only way at all to stop Foxy from attacking. The Freddy mask will not work on him. Whenever he is in the hallway, you must regularly flash the flashlight on Foxy a couple of times to stop him from attacking you until he is no longer in the hallway. The other active animatronics in the game are the Puppet and Golden Freddy. The Puppet is also completely unique in its controls. You must stop it from attacking you by consistently winding up the music box over the cameras. If the timer on the music box runs out, a faster music box jingle will play until the Puppet comes and attacks you. Once it's gotten out of the box, you can't stop its attack. You can technically briefly stall it using the flashlight, however this won't work for very long, and it's a strategy that only really works if you're at the very end of the night. Golden Freddy is a rarely active animatronic, just like in FNAF 1, however his presence is definitely more significant from the first game. He appears on the floor in your office and you must put on the Freddy mask to stop him from attacking. His face can also appear at the end of the hallway, and unlike all of the other hallway animatronics, you must not flash the flashlight on Golden Freddy or he will attack you. There is one other Easter egg animatronic that is Endo-02, a bare endoskeleton that can be seen rarely in the prize corner and in the vents. He doesn't do anything, although he can actually help you out a little by taking up space in the vents to not let another animatronic in. Whenever an animatronic is close to your office, either in the hallway or the 2 closest rooms, you will hear this warning sound, warning you to check the hallway or to be prepared for an attack through the vents. Just like in FNAF 1, you have to survive from 12 to 6 AM, however luckily the hours in this game are slightly shorter, being 1 minute and 6 seconds per hour rather than 1 minute and 25 seconds. This game also has significantly more gameplay and levels than the first game. As usual, there's the first 6 playable nights, however rather than having a customizable mode after that, FNAF 2 includes many set custom modes. As you beat these, you will win a plush for each level that stays on your desk. There are 10 different modes and 9 different plushes to win. In order to win the 3 stars from the home screen, the first is won by completing Night 5, the second for completing Night 6, and the third for beating 420 mode. The first night begins with a newspaper clipping titled Help Wanted. There's a photo in black and white that shows Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica. The writing states, Grand Reopening. Vintage Pizzeria give a new life. Come be a part of the new face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. What could go wrong? $100.50 a week. To apply, call 1555-FAZ-FAZBEAR. The gameplay of FNAF 2 is introduced gradually. On the first night, you don't have to do much at all as you get used to the controls and setup. You only have to manage winding up the music box, and from 1 AM onwards, the toy animatronics, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica are active on a very low level. On night 2, the difficulty increases quite significantly. The music box goes down more quickly, and while Toy Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica are still active, we also introduce Mangle, Balloon Boy, and Foxy. There is also an extremely rare chance of Golden Freddy appearing on this night. Once completing night 2, there is a cutscene where you are looking through the eyes of the Freddy head and are able to turn around. Bonnie is to your right and Chica is to your left as you are inside the Freddy costume in the backstage area. As you look around, the 2 animatronics turn to look at you and the screen cuts to a black screen with the words "It's me" written in small white writing in the top left corner. You may remember this as a recurring Easter egg from FNAF 1. On night 3, all of these characters are present yet again, except for Toy Freddy, who isn't active on this night. As well as this, Withered Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy are introduced on this night, and the music box goes down faster again. This night ends with a similar cutscene with you inside the Freddy mask. You can turn to see Bonnie and Chica staring at you, Chica with her mouth wide open. However, this time as you turn back around, Freddy appears in front of you. The It's Me screen appears yet again. On night 4, the animatronics are at higher AI levels, making them faster to move. All of the same animatronics as the previous night are active except for Toy Chica, who isn't present on this night. Toy Freddy still isn't active. The music box is going down slightly faster again, and Golden Freddy has a slightly higher chance of appearing. When you complete this night, you are back in the Freddy mask beside Chica and Bonnie, who are no longer looking at you. However, the puppet is now right in front of you, following your eyes as you look around before the screen glitches out and again says, "It's me." On the 5th night, all of the animatronics are present on a higher difficulty. This night ends with a payslip addressed to Jeremy Fitzgerald for $100.50, with the memo, "Welcome to the family." For the first time in the series, this payslip has a full date, 12th of November 1987. The reveal of this year tells us that this is the year of the Bite of 87 mentioned in FNAF 1, and many fans have speculated that you, Jeremy Fitzgerald, are the victim of the Bite of 87. On the bonus 6th night, all of the animatronics are again present, with their difficulty increased even more. Once completing this night, you will receive another payslip for Jeremy Fitzgerald for $20.10, with the memo "Overtime." Behind this memo is a newspaper article, "Robots Scrapped. Freddy Fazbear's is closing." After being open only a few short weeks, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is closing its doors. The new animatronics will be scrapped due to possible malfunctions. However, the original characters are being kept in hopes of possible reorganization of the company. It's a minor setback. We are confident that we will reopen someday, even if it is with a much smaller budget. CEO of Fazbear Entertainment. Through a variety of clues such as Phone Guy's presence in this game, which I will discuss in a minute, it has been figured out that FNAF 1 is in fact set after FNAF 2 chronologically, and that this article explains the setup of FNAF 1, a new location with the original animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. So, just like in FNAF 1, we receive calls from Phone Guy each night telling us the instructions of the game and giving us some of the story. This is the same Phone Guy that was killed in FNAF 1 because, as previously mentioned, this is set before that in the timeline. These calls not only give the instructions, but also give significant insight into the lore of the game. During the phone call beginning the first night, we learn that despite this being a prequel, it is also not the first restaurant in the timeline. Phone Guy welcomes you as the new night guard of the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He then promptly reassures you and urges you to forget about anything you may have heard about the old location, stating that the old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while. Phone Guy goes on to talk a little about the animatronics in this game, stating that these new animatronics, the toy animatronics, have facial recognition and advanced mobility, being able to spot a predator a mile away. This indicates that something had happened at the previous location too, explaining the need for such advanced security in the new animatronics. Phone Guy also mentions they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? Now this is a reference that you might remember from FNAF 1, where Phone Guy states they used to let them walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Phone Guy then goes on to explain the security system you'll be using. He explains that you're the second guard at this location, and that the first had finished up his first week but had complained about conditions, now having switched over to the day shift. Fans have speculated through future and additional lore in the FNAF series that this day guard could potentially be the series villain William Afton. Phone Guy goes on to explain that this previous night guard had expressed concern that the animatronics were moving around at night and even trying to get into his office. He shares his theory that this is because the animatronics don't have a proper night mode, and therefore in an empty room will try to go to where the people are. Due to this, Phone Guy gives us the temporary solution in place, aka the game's instructions. He explains the use of the music box and the Freddy head. He explains in the same way as in the first game that the animatronics may see you as an endoskeleton without its costume on and try to stuff you into a suit. So as not to avoid this, you must wear the mask. As we discovered in the first game, of course, this is not actually the reason that the animatronics are trying to stuff you into a costume or attack you. He explains that you can leave the mask on for as long as you like. This of course isn't so simple as leaving it on for the whole game, as when you're wearing the mask you can't check the monitors, wind up the music box, or flash the flashlight. Phone Guy mentions that there are no doors in this building, but that you do have a flashlight, letting you know that the flashlight can run out of power, but the building can't.
Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old locations, some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety.
On the second night, Phone Guy talks about the withered animatronics, explaining that they're from the previous location and are now just used for parts. He says they shouldn't be able to walk around, but that the Freddy head should work on them too, apart from with Foxy, and explains Foxy's controls. He ends the call by reiterating the importance of keeping the music box wound up, saying that the puppet is always thinking.
One more thing, don't forget the music box. I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere. I don't think the Freddy mask will fool it, so just don't forget the music box.
On the third night, Phone Guy explains the animatronic mangle. He says that they had tried to redesign Foxy, however the kids kept ripping it apart, and they had just decided to keep it as a pull apart and put back together attraction called the Mangle. He closes the call reassuring you that any rumours you may have heard lately aren't true, and are just people to try to make a quick buck. He also alludes to a tragic event, stating whatever's going on out there, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with our establishment. He also says the day guard hasn't reported anything unusual.
Okay, before I go, I wanted to ease your mind about any rumors you might have heard lately. You know how these local stories come and go and seldom mean anything. I can personally assure you that whatever is going on out there, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with our establishment. It's just all rumor and speculation.
On the fourth night, Phone Guy seems a little stressed. He informs you that there's an ongoing investigation and that they may have to close for a few days, but again reassures you that Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. He also mentions to avoid eye contact with the animatronics, saying he thinks that somebody has tampered with their facial recognition system, and that they've been acting strangely towards only adults. This could be the case, however it's also very likely that the animatronics are acting strangely because of something awful that's occurred, and that this has been happening since night one of the game.
Just to update you, There's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days. I don't know. I want to emphasize, though, that it's really just a precaution. Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. These things happen sometimes. It will all get sorted out in a few days.
On the 5th night, Phone Guy tells you to keep a close eye on things today, saying that the building is on strict lockdown, especially considering any previous employees. He also says that he may move you onto the day shift, as a position has become available, this alluding to the day shift worker being behind this awful event. He says that they don't yet have a replacement for the night shift, but have been trying to contact the owner of the old restaurant, revealing that it was called Fredbear's Family Diner.
From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees. When we get it all sorted out, we may move you to the day shift.
On the 6th night, Phone Guy calls you extremely concerned, asking what you're doing there. He says the place is closed down after someone used one of the suits out the back, saying it was a yellow one. He says now that none of the animatronics are acting right, but says to finish your shift now as it's safer than trying to leave. He says the following day you will work the day shift on one final event for a birthday party, and to keep a close eye on the animatronics. He ends this call saying he will probably take the night shift when the place opens again, leading to the series of events of which he is the previous night guard in FNAF 1. It's also been theorized that the Bite of 87 occurs on this day shift that we hear about but don't see in the game.
What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
So the rest of the lore hidden within this game is found within some mini-games. These games will randomly appear when you're killed by any of the animatronics, and are random and rare occurrences. They're in an 8-bit retro style using a very simple layout, and are controlled using the WASD keys. There are 4 different mini-games that have a chance of occurring. These games aren't given actual names, so are generally referred to by the fans using the words written on the screen or spelled out aloud within the mini-games. In this minigame, you are playing as the puppet. You are first instructed via text on the screen to give gifts. As you fly into 4 dead children, gifts appear in front of each. The screen restarts with the instructions give life, and this time as you fly into the children, they are each given animatronic masks of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, this seeming to represent the children being stuffed inside the animatronic suits, giving them life. It's also of course important to note that this is being done by the puppet, who is speculated therefore must have been a child murdered before these 4. The entire time the game is being played, a deep distorted voice repeats slow letters spelling out help them, and upon the game's completion you will get a Golden Freddy jump scare on the screen. For 1 frame before Golden Freddy's attack, a 5th body can be seen in the middle of the frame, representing the child within Golden Freddy. In this minigame you play as Freddy, delivering cake to 6 children. They will turn green as you do this, and the aim of the game is to keep all 6 children green rather than red. However, when this is happening, in the top of the screen, a purple car pulls up and a purple figure, dubbed Purple Guy, gets out, killing a crying child. As he does so, the child turns grey, representing it being killed, and you as the player will stop being able to move and watch all the other children turn red as the 7th child continues crying until the game ends with a jump scare from the puppet. Throughout the whole game, the deep distorted voice is spelling "Save him." These mini-games are the first appearance in the game of the series antagonist, who is at this point only known as Purple Guy, the man responsible for the murders of all these children possessing the animatronics. We first see some of his murders taking place in these mini-games, connecting a perpetrator to these mysterious murders. Within this minigame, you play as Foxy, running out from Pirate's Cove. You run forward as the words "Go, go, go" are written on the screen and run towards 5 children, 4 of them happy and 1 covered in dark bars. Once arriving at the children, the game will reset 2 more times with Foxy running from his cove. On the 3rd run, the Purple Guy will be seen in the corner of the starting room smiling. When Foxy runs into the room this time, the 5 children are dead. The game ends with a Foxy jump scare. In this minigame, you're playing as Freddy. You follow the puppet through different rooms in a layout that replicates the restaurant, including different animatronics. If you follow the puppet, the game will end suddenly once you reach a certain room, and throughout the game, the deep distorted voice is spelling out "Save them." If you choose not to follow the puppet, you can look around and see the other animatronics and rooms, and you can also find dead bodies and blood around the restaurant. In this game, you may start in one of multiple different rooms. This game doesn't end in a jump scare like the rest, however, very rarely, you will be met with a screen that says you can't in response to save them. After completing any of the custom nights, or night 7, you will be met with this screen saying, "Great, now get out," and a pink slip. This pink slip gives us a little more mysterious information. Importantly, that we are no longer playing as the same character, which makes sense due to the way that night 6 ends. This pink slip is addressed to Fritz Smith, who is written down as employee number 3, coming after the first night guard who was changed to day shift, and Jeremy Fitzgerald. We know this is a new character due to the note, "First day on the job, really?" And your reason for being fired, just like in FNAF 1, is due to tampering with the animatronics and odor due to you customizing the AI levels and messing with the animatronics. Due to the fact nobody was meant to be working at Freddy's after night 6, some fans have theorized that Fritz Smith is a disguise for William Afton, but there's no way of confirming that theory at this point. So that's all of the hidden lore and story of FNAF 2. Before I wrap this video up, I'm going to talk a little bit about the setting of this game, the restaurant that we're playing in. You are seated within the office, a significantly larger room than the office from FNAF 1. You're seated at a wooden brown desk, atop black and white checkerboard tiled floor. You're looking directly out into the hallway, which is a dark void until you flash the flashlight. On either side of you is a vent, and on the left wall is a Celebrate poster. You may remember the Celebrate poster from FNAF 1. This one is similar, but with Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Chica on it. It is brightly coloured and very new and pristine. On the right wall are an array of children's drawings messily strewn across the wall. All of the children's drawings in the restaurant have the title, "My Day at the New Freddy Fazbear's Pizza." The room is lit with a dingy light hanging from the ceiling, and there are colourful stars hanging from string from the ceiling. There is a large, constantly whirring black fan on your desk, and many monitors are surrounding you. Using the flashlight, you can see into the long, dark hallway, shining a round circle of light. If an animatronic is in the hallway, you can see them by doing this. The rest of the rooms can only be seen on the cameras, however these cameras are much clearer than those in FNAF 1, as you can shine your flashlight on any room, allowing you to see lots of detail. The show stage is where Toy Freddy, Bonnie and Chica start. You can't see too much on the stage, but when empty you can see a colourful happy birthday banner and fairy lights hanging from the roof. The game area has the same happy birthday banner hanging from the ceiling. There are bunches of colourful balloons and stacks of gifts all around the room, with the same colourful stars hanging from the ceiling. You can see into a party room from here, seeing some of the tables and party hats, and in the middle of the room is a merry-go-round with Chica, Foxy, Freddy and Bonnie as the seats. The prize corner is where the puppet resides in its music box, a big wrapped up white present box with a bow. On the wall behind it is a poster of Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Toy Freddy and Mangle, cut into 4 slivers. On the poster are written the words rock, eat, party and play. On the wall are also partially eaten pizzas and slices of pizza, and more children's drawings of the puppet. There are bunches of colourful balloons around the room, and on the left side is the glass counter with a Freddy plush on the top and other plushes of the animatronics in a shelf behind it. Kids Cove is a smaller corner that Mangle begins the game in. It has the same checkerboard tiled floors and drawings and pizzas on the walls with a few gifts and party hats on the floor. There's a poster of Mangle that says the new face of fun, and there are wires going around that are strewn on the ground. The main hall is a long hallway with the same floors, surrounded by doors. On the right are the bathrooms, pizzas on the walls, and a poster of Toy Freddy, with the words, "The new face of fun." On the left are posters of Toy Bonnie and Toy Chica. Toy Chica's saying, "Let's party." Down the centre is the door leading to the parts and services room. The parts and services room is where the withered animatronics begin the game. It's a dirty and less upkept room with the same checkerboard floors and wires and pipes on the walls. Party room 4 is a bit dirtier and dingier. It has 3 paper dolls on the wall, a table in the middle of the room with gifts on it and a bunch of balloons. Party room 3 contains 2 party tables with neatly lined up striped party hats. There are a bunch of balloons and the same Celebrate poster is also on this wall. Party room 2 is where the entrance to the right vent is. It contains 2 long party tables with party hats on top and a large banner hanging across the roof saying "Let's party," as well as more stars on the ceiling. Party room 1 is where the left vent opening is. It has 2 party tables with party hats on top. Across the roof hang a trail of paper dolls, and on the back wall are 3 posters. One is of Toy Bonnie that says "Let's rock," one is of Toy Freddy that says "Party time, you ready?" and one is of Toy Chica. You can look at the cameras at each vent as well to see animatronics entering the vents before they have reached the office. There are a few more hidden Easter eggs in the game that I haven't yet mentioned that don't have much relevance to the story, but are just fun Easter eggs. These are the Celebrate poster. Just like on the Celebrate poster in FNAF 1, you can honk Freddy's nose on the Celebrate poster in FNAF 2. RWQFSFASXC, who is a black silhouette of Toy Bonnie who is named a whole bunch of letters in the game files for some reason. He has a very rare chance of appearing in the office. If you stare at him for too long, the game will crash, but he can be made to disappear by shining the flashlight on him. In Custom Night, one of the paper dolls from the Party Room 4 has a 1% chance of moving into the office. He can't do any harm and he just hangs there. If there aren't any animatronics in the Parts and Services room, there's a 10% chance of Shadow Freddy appearing. He also can't do any harm. He's a purple version of Golden Freddy with glowing white eyes and teeth. There are also rare images that have a chance of flashing up in certain instances. After the warning screen, you may see this eyeless photo of Withered Freddy. After the game over screen, you may see this photo of an eyeless Withered Bonnie. And when starting a night, you may see this photo of an eyeless Withered Foxy. So that is everything for the lore of FNAF 2. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. Bye.